Hello there, my name's Simon and I'm here to tell you about the Welfare Rights Service that is offered by Derbyshire County Council. The Welfare Rights Service offers benefits advice. We can offer advice about any benefit matter for anybody that lives in Derbyshire. This could range from a simple question about a benefit. It could be a request for a full benefit check, if there's something that you could claim. It could be a problem with a benefit that you're already receiving. We have a benefits advice line. The telephone number is there on screen, 01629 531 535. And as I just said earlier, it can be accessed by anybody living in Derbyshire. So wherever you live in Derbyshire, any question about a benefit, you can contact that telephone number. The phone number is open from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. You can also email the helpline welfarebenefits@derbyshire.gov.uk anytime, and we will endeavour to contact you back as soon as possible to offer advice and support. Something else that we do is we offer representation for people living in Derbyshire for benefit appeals and tribunals. So if you disagree with a decision made about a benefit, you can contact us for advice and we can guide you through that process of challenging a decision. Ultimately, it may end up at one of the benefit tribunal centres around the county, and we can offer face-to-face or telephone representation for you to disagree with a benefit decision. We also work closely with our adult care colleagues. We have a team of advisors that work directly with clients that have care packages and social workers. So you may be referred to the Welfare Rights Service by somebody like your social worker to ensure that you are receiving your full benefit entitlement or to help with dealing with any problems regarding any benefits that you receive. Also, we have a team of caseworkers that provide intense support for people that are referred to us by Macmillan. So if you are a Macmillan client and you're working with, you have Macmillan involved, then they may also refer you to our service for advice, guidance and support with benefits. We have a website, derbyshire.gov.uk/welfare benefits, and on here you can find lots of useful information, and there's also our benefit check sheet that you can access. You can fill that in, send it to us, and we'll get in touch with you regarding any benefits that you could access. We have lots of information on here about challenging decisions, about our appeals service. There's also an online assessment tool if you'd prefer not to speak to somebody but still to perhaps assess your own benefit entitlement. You can access that here as well. Derbyshire County Council Welfare Rights Service is not the only place in Derbyshire to get benefits advice from. Here you can see what our service offers. We have the helpline, as I mentioned. We do have a service where benefit forms can be completed and a home visit if necessary, if somebody has a social worker or care package in place. And we do offer the benefit appeal representation. Citizens advice around Derbyshire also provides benefits advice. They have an advice line. They also have drop-in advice sessions or bookable appointments. They work largely with GP surgeries as well. So often you can see citizens advice at your Derbyshire-based GP. They do fill in forms for people face-to-face and over the phone. They will, in limited circumstances, sometimes do a home visit, but that's going to vary in line with what they can offer from time to time and where you are located around the county. There are different citizens advice organisations within Derbyshire, so contact your local one to find out what they can offer. They don't offer an appeals representation service. They do some work with challenging decisions, but then if an appeal is needed, they would refer it to Welfare Rights. So we work in conjunction with them to offer that appeal representation service. There's also Derbyshire Unemployed Workers Centre, their telephone number there, and email address 01246 231 441 and info@duwc.org.uk. They will help people living in Derbyshire, but perhaps not the whole county. It's more the north and eastern parts of Derbyshire, where they have lots of different drop-in services, and they can fill in forms, they can visit people at home, and you can't quite see behind my face, but they will also offer to represent people for an appeal. Why do people need help with benefits, you may wonder? It is important that people have somewhere to turn to for expert, free, impartial advice, which is exactly what we offer. You may not know that you're missing out on benefits. Pension credit and council tax reduction are the two most underclaimed benefits for people living in Derbyshire. Many people that are entitled to those benefits unfortunately don't know about it and don't therefore make a claim for them. We can help people to understand their full benefit entitlement and to make sure they're receiving the correct amount. Understanding what the qualifying rules are can be quite complicated. It can be overwhelming to really know whether or not this benefit that you may have heard of is right for you, or we can help explain it from scratch, what the rules are. If we think you meet the criteria for it, we can offer that advice and help you to make a claim for that benefit. If we go back 10, 15 years, making a benefit claim was much more simple than it is these days. You could fill in a form and you could receive a decision. However, now there are many parts to some benefit claims. Some claims are largely made online. Sometimes you have to request a form. So it's a little more complicated now, but we have good knowledge of the current best way to make benefit claims and all the different options that are there for people. So we can offer that advice on an individual basis. Certain benefits require people to have healthcare assessments. So we can advise about that, explain what the process is and how to try and prepare for having that healthcare assessment and whether or not it's part of the benefit that you're making a claim for. Evidence needs to be provided with many benefit claims, such as proof of ID, proof of income, proof of savings, proof of health or disability. So we can help with understanding what information will be required in order to have your benefit claim assessed. And if you receive a decision that you or we think isn't quite right, then we can help with understanding your appeal rights to challenge that decision and to guide you through that process and to undertake some of that work for you. Let's have a look at an example of someone that's contacted our helpline before. Mr. Jones here has called to ask for a benefit check. He's 77 years old, he lives alone and rents a small flat, £85 a week rent. He pays £20 a week council tax. He has a state pension of £170 a week and he has no other income or savings. Fortunately for Mr. Jones, he had a stroke a few months ago and needs significant personal care. He is struggling to afford to heat his flat, his fridge isn't working properly, and he's sleeping on the sofa because his bed is broken. He's unable to deal with benefit claims himself. Mr. Jones was in quite a bad financial state there, and we, with assistance, were able to help him to claim attendance allowance, pension credit, housing benefit and council tax reduction, and I'll be telling you more about each of those benefits in a little while. We also worked closely with the Derbyshire Discretionary Fund team, and we were able to help him to make successful applications to that fund, and they provided Mr. Jones with an exceptional pressure grant that gave him a new bed and a new fridge, and he also received an emergency cash payment of £84 to help to meet his immediate needs. Let's look at Mr. Jones's weekly finances before and after he sought advice from Welfare Rights. His only source of income is his state pension, £170 a week. And he was paying out £85 rent, £20 council tax per week, leaving him just with £65 for food, utilities and anything else. So no spare money at the end of each week. After making successful benefit claims, he had two other sources of income, attendance allowance and pension credit of £101.75 and £107.45 per week, boosting his total income from £170 to £379.20. And not only that, he had less to pay out. We helped him to make successful claims for housing and council tax benefit, saving him a further £105 a week in expenses. If he was still just paying out that really low amount for food and utilities, as the before situation shows, this now means he has a weekly disposable income of £314.20. So he is far more able now to have a much better standard of living, make better choices about what food he buys, what care he receives, how he travels about, and have a much better quality of life now, thanks to getting the right level of support from the welfare benefit system. I'm now going to give you some brief details about some of the benefits that we most often spot for people, including some of those benefits that many people are missing out on. We can broadly put these more commonly noticed benefits into two different categories of health-related benefits and means-tested benefits. The difference there, means-tested benefits, the amount that you may receive depends on your individual income and savings, or if you're part of a couple, it usually requires a joint means test to be done. So it looks at yours and your partner's income and savings. If it's health-related benefits, it's just assessed on you as an individual. If you are a couple, you could both qualify for health-related benefits if you both meet the criteria. There are far more benefits than this. There are lots of benefits that we identify for people that don't fall into these 7, but let's take a look at these a little closer. We'll look at attendance allowance. This is a benefit that is paid to people that require significant care during the day or during the night. There are two different levels, lower rate and higher rate. The amount of money is about £30 a week higher if you meet the higher rate. So to meet the lower rate, you need to satisfy the daytime or the nighttime care test. And to get the higher rate, you need to satisfy both the daytime and the nighttime care test. Attendance allowance is a benefit that can be claimed from state pension age, which is currently age 66. So if you are 66 or over and don't currently receive any kind of disability benefit, but you require significant care, then attendance allowance may be for you. It's not counted as an income for means-tested benefit. Sometimes people think that if they receive a disability benefit, it's going to perhaps increase the amount of tax that they pay, or it will reduce other benefits that they already receive. In fact, that's the opposite really. It can enhance other benefits that you receive. Your outdoor mobility is not really assessed when it looks at attendance allowance. It's more about your personal care that you require on a day-to-day basis. To qualify for attendance allowance, you must require from another person frequent attention in connection to a bodily function or continual supervision. So that really means that you need somebody, some kind of actual help from another person, usually a 2-person task, something to do with the bodily function. And that may sound very personal, but it can be anything really that is to do with your body and how your body works. So it could be that you need assistance with something very personal, like getting up in the morning, dressing, bathing, teeth brushing, could be things like that. It could be that you need help with thinking, communicating, speaking, eating, drinking, breathing. Anything to do with your body and how it works can be deemed as a personal care task. Domestic tasks such as cleaning, shopping, gardening, unfortunately don't usually seem to bear any relevance on the test to whether or not you might qualify for attendance allowance. So it's more personal care and your bodily functions, which is important to highlight in order to make a successful claim for attendance allowance. The nighttime test is a little different in that you need to show that you require prolonged or repeated attention with your bodily functions, or for another person to be awake to watch over them. So prolonged attention usually means at least 20 minutes. So if you need assistance for 20 minutes a night, or repeated attention means more than once. So if you need assistance twice a night, then you're looking at meeting the criteria for this. You need to show what care is required. And also you need to show that that care is required in order to actually make a significant difference to your ability to carry out the task. Maybe another person will make it quicker, less painful, safer. So the presence of another person needs to make a difference for them to be effective. Remember, you don't need to receive the help, but you need to show that there is a need for the help. And you don't need to show that you need that help every single day and every single night. People's conditions will vary, but you need to show that you require that care most of the time, which is usually at least 4 days or 4 nights per week. Next benefit here is personal independence payment, or PIP, as it might be referred to. So this is for people below pension age. You can claim from age 16 right up to pension age. So it does the same thing as attendance allowance in a way, but the criteria and the way it's assessed is very different to attendance allowance. It has a point scoring system. Rather than looking at daytime and nighttime, it looks at 12 different tests, including preparing food, dressing, communicating, managing a budget, and getting around outdoors. This benefit does carry a mobility component, whereas attendance allowance doesn't. A bit like attendance allowance, it does have different rates for the number of points that you score. The higher the number of points you score is going to mean that you are potentially going to achieve a higher rate of payment. To start a claim for personal independence payment, you would call a telephone number, answer a few questions on the phone, tends to take 10 to 15 minutes on the phone, and you then receive what's known as a PIP2 form, or a How Your Disability Affects You form, which usually needs to be completed and returned within 4 weeks. You can request an extension if you need more time. We do always recommend that you get assistance with completing that form from somebody that understands the criteria, like Citizens Advice and the Derbyshire Unemployed Workers Centre. They offer that form completion service. Following the return of that form, you would then usually have a healthcare assessment, and that can be by telephone, it can be in person, it can be at your home. You can ask for what you'd like, and again, you can be guided by Citizens Advice and the Unemployed Workers Centre as to how to go about requesting what you would like to happen with regards to the assessment. The next benefit we'll look at here is carer's allowance. Now, this is paid to the person that provides the care for a person that receives a disability benefit, such as attendance allowance and the daily living side of personal independence payment. So carer's allowance is paid to the person that does the care rather than the person that has the disability or health condition. You can still receive carer's allowance if you yourself have disability and health-related problems, and it can be paid alongside other benefits or part-time work and study. We always advise that people have thorough benefit checks because claiming carer's allowance can impact on other benefits. We're moving over now to look at the means tested benefits. So these benefits are ones that look at how much income and savings you have. I've already mentioned this benefit a little. Pension credit is a benefit that can be claimed to guarantee that you have a minimum level of income. It depends on your income and savings. Claims are made from the age of 66, which is pension age. For couples now, the legislation changed a few years ago in 2019 to say that couples both need to be age 66 in order to make a claim for pension credit now. If somebody has a younger partner that's still working age below 66, we'll look at that benefit next. Claiming pension credit can enable other support such as help with rent and council tax, cost of living payments, free TV licence if you receive pension credit and are over 75, cold weather payments and funeral payments from the Department for Work and Pensions. If you are below pension age or you have a partner that is below pension age, you wouldn't claim pension credit, you would claim universal credit. So it behaves kind of similarly in that it guarantees a minimum level of income. So you may have a low income, you may have no income at all, and pension credit guarantee that you should have a certain level of income. Claims for universal credit are largely from the age of 18. In certain circumstances, 16 and 17-year-olds can make claims for universal credit right up to the day before you are 66. Universal credit is a unique, quite complicated calculation which takes into account household circumstances, income, savings, how much rent you pay, whether you're a carer, whether you've got capacity to work, whether you are working, and lots of other factors when giving you your unique entitlement. And we can do that full calculation for you. Universal credit caters for lots of different circumstances. It's paid to people that are in work, people that are out of work, unable to work, looking for work, couples, lone parents, single people, people with and without children, carers, people that can't work, many different factors. So universal credit really does catch lots of different scenarios and people in different circumstances. People will be moved on to universal credit from what are known as legacy benefits. So universal credit was introduced to replace new claims for working age housing benefit, tax credits, income support, income-based job seekers allowance and income-related ESA, employment and support allowance, that one is. So people that still receive those benefits will, over the next few years, up to 2029, be invited to claim universal credit instead of receiving that legacy benefit. We have information on our website. We keep that up to date on the welfare benefits news page. We're keeping news and information about the migration from legacy benefits onto universal credit updated on there. The next benefit we'll look at is housing benefit, one that Mr. Jones was receiving. So this helps with the cost of rent. The amount that you receive depends on your income and savings, how much rent you pay, whether you have a private or a social landlord. The rules can be quite complicated, and for people that aren't currently receiving help with rent that are working age, it's often universal credit that will give you the help with rent rather than housing benefit. So new claims can only be made for people of pension age, or if you are working age, if you live in certain types of specified accommodation, such as supported living or perhaps temporary accommodation like a hostel. Council tax reduction is the final benefit we'll look at. In order to claim council tax reduction, you need to have a council tax liability, so a council tax bill in your name or have a liability for council tax. So if you receive council tax reduction, you would usually get a discount on the council tax rather than receiving it as an income. So instead of you getting your full council tax bill liability to pay, you would receive a reduction. So you'd have a kind of discount off that full amount with lower payments to pay. So thank you for listening to me talking all about the Welfare Rights Service. Please contact the Welfare Rights Service if you have any questions about benefits and you live in Derbyshire. Do you want us to provide you with a full benefit check? Check if you're missing out on something, or are you getting the right amounts? Are you receiving your full entitlement to benefits? We can check that for you. Do you have a benefit problem? Have your payments stopped? Have you received a letter you don't understand what to do? You want to understand your rights? We can explain that to you, what your different options might be. Do you want help with challenging a benefit decision? Have you received a decision that you disagree with? We are the people to speak to. We can help with that. If you need representation for a benefit appeal, if you are appealing a decision and you want someone to act as your representative in that matter, we are happy to do that. Any other questions about benefits, contact our helpline on 01629 531 535 from 11 AM till 4 PM on weekdays apart from Wednesdays, or email us at any time, welfarebenefits@derbyshire.gov.uk.